easy subject. So today we propose to have a closer look at it to make it more familiar to all of us. We would like to look at it from different perspectives. And today we will focus on three major points. The first one is an introduction. I would like to give you an introduction into the subject, into the current situation when it comes to digital tools usage, and some additional, I hope, interesting numbers or information that will help me maybe show you what an interesting subject that is. Later, Wojtek will go on to highlight what the main challenges of eKYC are, and finally, we will propose an approach which we think is the most beneficial one. By the end of the presentation, also, we would like to show you our current solution if we have time. So for the presentation, we have 30 minutes altogether, so let's start. And let's start with something pleasant. So look at the guy at the slide. I hope the ones who are related to the digital onboarding subject feel like him when it comes to your process. And maybe you have a process that you are proud of and you are fully happy with your eKYC practices. And in that case, I hope you will find something interesting in the presentation anyway. So when I was preparing to this presentation, I checked what digital onboarding looks in a dozen of banks in Poland. I went through self-service trying to apply for one of each bank's products. The processes are very different. They are, some of them are more advanced, some are less advanced. They are based on different verification methods and with different conclusions for the customer. This showed me that it's not really a question whether to make digital onboarding part of your eKYC practices, but rather how to do it, what to do with the data, and also how to make your customers feel safe with it. Almost all of you who are actually interested in that subject are onboarding customers remotely and possibly are wondering how to approach the future. So I propose to look at the process from different perspectives, from perspective of different stakeholders. First of all, we said that digital onboarding is a standard process right now and that almost all of us are using it. And it cannot function without internet banking. Most of eKYC customers will end up using mobile banking. So I propose to zoom out the perspective a bit and maybe have a look at digital tools usage in more general perspective. So here I will be showing data provided by Polish Banking Association on the usage of digital tools in banking from Poland alone. And the numbers are quite interesting. First of all, if you look at the digital tools in banking, you will see that the number of agreements for that digital access is growing. And currently we have over 42 million agreements with login data to banking issued to customers. Those 42 million include internet banking access and mobile banking, but not all of those accounts are actively used. When we look at the number of accounts that are actually used by customers for internet banking, you will also see that the number is growing, and it grew by almost 1 million in the past year. For mobile banking, it is also growing, and it is growing fastest. So mobile banking gained about 2.5 million customers within the last year. This may show a few things, or it may mean a few things. One is that the generation change is happening, or maybe that we do trust our mobile devices, or that we do trust our mobile applications provided by banks. Definitely what we know is that the people are increasingly comfortable with using digital tools, not only for social platforms, but also for more serious aspects of life, such as finances. Now, from the perspective of the customer, who seem to know very well what they want and also are quite demanding, I chose three numbers or 3 data that I think are quite interesting and might show us what this perspective is. First of all, in a survey on how people decide whether to onboard a product or an application, 63% of respondents pointed out that they make their decision not on the product itself, but on the onboarding process. So they decided based on how the onboarding process looks and what support they will receive after they are onboarded. So they are not even focusing on the product itself. At the same time, Visa, in its survey, suggested that 20 minutes for an onboarding of a customer is the maximum clients can bear. So if the onboarding process takes more than 20 minutes, 70% of clients will most likely abandon the process completely. And finally, the clients also expect some kind of welcome, some kind of welcome message or help to use the tool, the application, bank's application better. And it makes them feel maybe cared for and builds this lasting relationship with between the client and the bank. And 93% of the respondents said that they think that a video with someone showing them how to use the application better is a good welcome. Also, there is this human factor that is important in digital onboarding. So McKinsey and Company suggested that even though the customer service interactions are increasingly taken over by tech solutions like AI, for example, a human contact will likely be an important factor in overall client experience, especially in the moments that matter. And it seems that digital onboarding is a moment that matters a lot. In LiveBank, we record about 1 million interactions every month. And I think it says quite a lot when it comes to this need for human assistance. Also, another aspect that has been already mentioned today multiple times is safety of data. And it especially concerns the digital onboarding and eKYC for banks. So it's a burden put on banks to make digital tools safe, to make digital applications safe, and to make clients' money safe. This goes for digital onboarding and eKYC specifically because the bank needs to identify the customer beyond any doubt. The final perspective I would like to present is the perspective from the regulations and the banks who need to follow them. So it's something we mentioned today as well. So I think the banks, first of all, need to keep up with changing regulations, but also they need to follow new opportunities. That means that it's not only the regulations that are happening, but also the readiness of the market and the people to follow those regulations. And a good example might be mObywatel. This is a governmental ID, digital ID that has been recently allowed to be used in bank branches as the verification method. The method is quite new, let's say, and maybe in bank branches where the bank advisor has direct contact with the customer, this is something that they are more comfortable with. For digital tools, it seems that it may be a bit more tricky. Nevertheless, we already know that 10 million Polish citizens have this digital ID profile created, and the number will be growing. So I think sooner or later banks will be forced to make a decision how they want to proceed in that situation when it comes to their digital onboarding. Those are numerous perspectives from different stakeholders of the subject. So I hope I managed to show you some kind of background of what the situation today is, and Wojtek will proceed to highlight some conclusions.
While analyzing the subject of digital onboarding and attempting to predict the trends and requirements in near future, we arrive at the conclusion that the following three aspects will be significant for banks. First, the security of the process must meet all current security standards and be prepared for proactive modification to continue preventing new forms of fraud. Second, the solution should be flexible and adaptable to changing regulation and business requirements, both on the process and functional side. And third, basing on the discussion with our customers, we believe that the eKYC process should be repurposed for periodic customer data and identity verification, what will substantially increase the demand for this type of processes. To help banks with the future requirements in the eKYC area, such companies as Ailleron, in our belief, should be mostly the provider of the technical and integration part of the process, assuring a wide framework for eKYC flow preparation with different types of steps and especially diverse methods of customer identity verification, such as video assist, biometry, and especially a consumption of the governmental authority services, for instance, mObywatel. In our opinion, these are banks who should give the input and tell how the process should be configured from the business perspective, depending on the line of business, according to the local regulation and current product and security requirements. Let's see how this approach might apply to the eKYC models which are currently used in different markets. We can also parallelly quickly remind ourselves what these models are. First, the Hong Kong model, which is quite flexible. The regulator states that the technology adopted for remote onboarding purposes should cover both identity authentication verification and identity matching via, for example, facial recognitions, liveness detection, and others. Then we've got the German model, which is a bit more traditional, where face-to-face meeting was replaced with a simple video call. After that, we've got Swedish and the Indian model, which assumes a creation of a trustworthy official source of information, often but not always provided by the government, that financial institution can refer to when checking the identity of the prospective customer. This model is more and more popular in Poland and possibly in European Union in the future. And finally, we've got the UK model, which categorizes clients as a low or high risk customers and then performs on them accordingly either the simplified eKYC journey or full due diligence. LiveBank can address those models in the approach of being the integration and technical part of the process. Let's see now a few examples how we do it. On the slide, you can see the process which is used with the help of LiveBank. Here, the client starts on bank's website or in online banking. From there, the customer enters the eKYC flow by stepping into LiveBank plugin. Firstly, we present the consents and instruction to inform customers and make them more comfortable with the process. After that, the customer takes a picture of the documents, selfie, and perform the liveness check, which is anti-fraud tool. After those steps are done, LiveBank can reach out to external integrated biometry engine for OCR and for biometry, check the results in different databases, and finally retrieve all outcomes in order to present them to the customer and parallelly pass them to the internal bank's system. During the whole process, there are guides available for the customer to each of the steps, and also in case of any difficulties, the customer can reach out for a human assistance by clicking the video connection button. Similarly, the process could be based on digital ID and governmental data centers, such as, for example, Polish mObywatel. On the bank's website, where the customer wants to apply for a product, loan, or open new account, they can usually choose from different verification methods. In the presented scenario, we assume that the customer chose the mObywatel app as a verification tool. It means that the client has already created the profile in mObywatel app, what you can see on the bottom part of the slide. Actually, in the entire process, there are 4 players. The bank, which is marked here with the light blue color, the LiveBank application, which is embedded into bank's systems with the, let's say, dark blue color on the slide. There are also these governmental services named here as a mObywatel. They are available both on the customer and the bank side. And finally, we've got also this external biometric engine. The whole process is a bit similar to Blik payment. Probably most of you know it. But let me tell you more. Firstly, we present the process starts from the instruction and the consents. Next, through the communication between bank and mObywatel services, the LiveBank display a code for a customer to enter it in mObywatel application. Once it is done, the customer will see the personal data in this app, and also will confirm the data transfer from mObywatel to the bank. Then again, thanks to integration between mObywatel and bank, the data will be presented on the LiveBank screen to the customer, where the customer will be requested to confirm their correctness. After that, the bank can reach out to mObywatel services to perform its check, like signature, passer number validity, or expiry date of the ID documents. Once all these checks are positive, this is signal for LiveBank to proceed with the next steps, like selfie photo, facial comparison, and liveness check of the client. And similarly, LiveBank will present the result to the customer and pass the full process data to the bank. And also during this eKYC flow, the customer might use video assistance if they require help. There is one more element to LiveBank, which might be an advantage in changing regulatory environment and clients' expectation: the process creator. Thanks to this tool, the bank can do a few things. First, keep different processes for different requirements. Second, add or remove information and instruction steps as needed by the customer. And third, they can quickly implement changes and reapply it to the customers in the new form. All those things allow the flexibility and reliability which will be required from this type of tools in the future. As we are on Ailleron Innovation Forum, I hope you don't mind to see a little product placement. We prepared a short movie which is presenting how banks use LiveBank for digital onboarding, and also how flexible it could be for process configuration. Please, let's watch it.
How to create a business process for onboarding new clients. After logging into LiveBank application as business administrator and setting up your media devices, click on the settings icon and navigate to Process Configurator tab. A list of all existing eKYC processes is being displayed. One possible way is to create a whole new process from the scratch. Just click on the New Process button and start filling in all the necessary data, with process name and its ID among others. Here you will also decide about the type of the process, whether it should be a human-assisted, automatic one, or a hybrid of the two. While creating the process, look at the smallest details like showing the number of steps in the process, possibility of process change during the advisor's assistance, or enabling camera change that is set up separately for mobile and desktop devices. After filling in all the necessary data and saving it, you can proceed to the flow of the process by setting the available steps in the right, desired order. You can add a new step to the process and then select step type from the templates. After that, you will need to fill in all the data related to it, the title and subtitle and actions assigned to them. Next, add an instruction that will guide the client through the step. It is also possible to shorten the process by deleting unnecessary steps. Simply click on the trash icon and confirm the deletion. Should it happen that the step needs to be changed, the system allows for step modification. The possible changes depend on the step you're working on. On the example shown, we will change only the button look, without changing the content of the page. Once all the editing has been done, you are ready for launching the new process. Just save the changes and return to the list of all available processes. After clicking on the icon visible on the upper left-hand side, click Save the Process and activate the process. Once confirmed, it's done. Clients are now eligible to use this process for their identity verification.